Welcome to Out Rockin' RV with John and Inga. We learned on our first trip that we needed storage solutions and to install a Lagun-Style table. The tiny cabinet door here is difficult to access and hides a vast volume of space. I therefore decided to install a 12-inch by 13-inch drawer instead. To install the drawer, I marked and cut out the opening using a clamp-held straight edge and an oscillating multi-tool. I screwed in plywood sides for the rail supports, the rails, and built and installed the half-inch plywood drawer box. Finally, I attached a drawer front from a curly maple board and installed a latch. I constructed this collapsible half-inch plywood unit to sit atop the microwave cabinet, providing a dedicated space for dish storage once we are set up at our campsite. During transit, I wrap it in a blanket and store it on the bed. Experience has taught me that unsecured items bounce around quite violently inside the closed Aliner while traveling. As you can see, it's incredibly straightforward to build and collapse. We used the top shelf for a utensil tray, the middle shelf for our plates and cups, and I designed it to store our coffee surface down below. We constantly tripped on the folding legs of the factory supplied table, so I bought and installed a Lagun-Style swing arm table instead. I built a plywood panel to screw into the existing cleats. But when I inspected the inside of the cabinet, I found no visible screws supporting the cleat. So I installed a plywood block to screw into the cleat to ensure enough support for the table mount. Did I mention I'm a retired engineer? And now I'll show you the simple dinette to bed conversion, which takes less than 30 seconds, though slightly sped up here. For our second trip, we chose to camp at Lake Summerville, driving a 2-hour back roads route to Rocky Creek Corps of Engineers Park. We found the setup easy at the level and spacious lakeside site in this well-groomed, lovely park. We love camping in our Aliner, but we also learned that hazardous weather puts our setup to the ultimate test. Flashing back to blue water at 2 a.m., I woke to the sound of howling winds and a loud whump, thump, whump outside the RV. I looked out the window to see the outhouse tent violently beating the griddle table. I leapt outside, grabbed a rope from the truck, the griddle from the table, and tied the tent to the griddle with lightning lighting the way. But the wind shoved the tent over, yanking the griddle through the grass. I grabbed a tire iron and hammer from the truck and beat the improvised stake into the ground, wrapped the rope around it, which kept the tent from blowing away. At Rocky Creek, I staked the tent sides to new sturdy stakes, but decided that tent corners would be fine with the supplied thin wire stakes. Imagine my surprise to wake up after midnight to howling winds and whump and thump outside the RV. I raced outside to find the toilet tent completely uprooted, flying sideways like a giant box kite in the wind. The only thing that kept it from blowing into the lake was that I had tied one side of the tent to the RV's bumper. I wrestled it down and collapsed the tent and put the griddle on top to secure it from blowing away, and went back to bed, wet and shivering. The next morning's colorful sunrise could not beat back the front's chill. We warmed up with a griddle full of bacon, eggs, and hash browns and a cup of hot coffee in our hands. We ventured out to explore the area and try our luck fishing the lake, even pausing to appreciate the beauty of a blooming prickly pear cactus. Inga spent time scouting the rocky shoreline and even discovered a few pieces of petrified wood, while my fishing produced not a single bite. And thus we ended our visit to Rocky Creek with a steak dinner and another lovely sunset.